Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a rather shocking video that I came across on Twitter that was posted by a Chinese user. It deals with a gentleman called Mohammed, who presumably is from Morocco and is living in the UK with his 3 wives and 6 children on benefits. Initially, let's just take a look at the video that was posted on Twitter. It's about 30 seconds or so, and after that we'll have some reaction to it.
Every weekend, Mohammed tries to get his children together for a day out. But as Mohammed and his wives are unemployed and dependent on benefits, days like these are rare.
Chicken, chips, and wedges.
The difficulty of balancing many families on little money is a source of tension, a tension exacerbated by his desire to share the state benefits they receive.
So basically here what we have is a case of a migrant to the UK, and I think with a name like Mohammed it's almost 99% certain he is a Muslim migrant to the UK. And he's living in a polygamous relationship with several wives. According to my understanding, 2 of his wives are actually resident with him in the UK, and the 3rd one is in Morocco, where I presume he lived previously, and that's probably where he came from. There are actually many things that I find deeply disturbing about what I see in this video, and it raises some real questions for me. First of all, how common is this? How normal is this in the UK that we have guys, Muslim guys, many of them that are immigrants, who are basically having polygamous relationships, and this is in some way sanctioned by the UK state. Now, it's true that it's not allowed in Britain to have more than one wife, not a legally recognized wife anyway, for the purposes of getting married and getting divorced and stuff like that. Mohammed only has one wife. However, on the benefits system, from that side of things, the state in Britain actually does recognise these other women as his legitimate dependents. And therefore, he can claim benefits for not only all of his wives, but also all of his children by these wives. And Muslim men, according to the Quran, can have up to 4 wives. So Muhammad is actually 1 short of the maximum that he would be permitted. According to information that I found, the UK government initially didn't pay for additional wives, but they changed their policy because they realised it was costing them even more money. What was happening was that if the women were not recognised as wives and dependents of the Muslim man, then basically they went to the government and claimed single parent benefit. They said they were single mothers, and often what they would be doing is still living in the same house as the man, or at least in a house very close to him, was a very common arrangement. And it's estimated that there were more than 20,000 such cases in the UK like this. So the government actually stopped recognising these women as single parents and moved over to a system where they were just giving the guy benefit for these extra wives basically as dependents. Apparently that's cheaper, although I think it sends a really bad message. If anyone has the question, is it legal in the UK for Mohammed to be getting benefits from the state, from the British taxpayer basically, for all 3 of his wives, then the answer is an unequivocal yes. He's not doing anything illegal. Of course, many people, including myself, would not agree with it, but this is a choice that the government of the UK has made. It is a policy decision, and Mohammed himself is just going along with it and taking advantage of the system, which, many people would, to be honest, including non-migrants. One major question I do have about Mohammed's case is, why is he still in the UK? If he is a migrant and he's unemployed and his wife or wives are unemployed as well, why are they being permitted to stay in the UK? Of course, I understand fully that given current legislation, etc., I know why they're in the UK. My question is, why don't we change the law to enable the UK government to actually remove people who are not productive members of society from the country? As many viewers will remember, I have extensive experience of living in Asia, especially Thailand and China. And I can absolutely assure you that if a foreigner in Thailand or China wants to get on the benefit system, it is absolutely impossible. You need to have a job there. You need to have a work visa for a designated employer, not just for any job at all. There are a wide variety of restricted occupations which only Thais or Chinese are permitted to do. You have to have a very specific role in a specific company and get the visa and go and do that. And if your employment is terminated or if you leave or something, then you have a very short window of opportunity to transition to another employer. And if you can't, then you have to leave. Or you have to get some other kind of visa, perhaps if you have family members there or something, that might be possible, but you wouldn't be able to work, and you certainly wouldn't be able to collect benefits from the state. It's just absolutely unimaginable. And it's a massive question for me. Why is it that Europe and many other countries seem to have lost their minds when it comes to this kind of thing? And why they can't just look at the example of countries like China or Thailand and see how this kind of system of immigration can actually work quite well. You get the migrants that you actually need, and not just people who are going to come in and take advantage of the social security welfare system. Chinese users, and it was a Chinese user, a guy from Guangdong, who actually posted this. They're just stunned by it. They can't really get their heads around the fact that Europe has just gone mad like this. And they write in the comments things like, in a generation, Europe will be controlled by Muslims, which may well come to pass, but I really hope that it won't. But you know, Chinese people are generally very, very hard-working, and they have a bit of money, and as most people who've gone to school with Asian students know, although it's a bit of a stereotype, admittedly it's a good one, they do tend to work really hard, and they do very well academically. They're really hard workers, Asians generally and Chinese particularly, in my opinion anyway. And Chinese people find it almost impossible to get visas to come to the UK. You know, it's really, really, really difficult. They have to go through all of these steps and hurdles and demonstrate all of these different things, financial things or whatever, in order to go to the UK. And then they can only be there for a designated period of time while they're studying or something, and then they have to go back, you know. And they actually follow this, they obey this. And they just look at the situation of like all these guys coming from Tunisia or Morocco or the Middle East or Africa or wherever, and they're just coming into the UK illegally, and indeed Europe illegally, and they're just staying and they're in the social welfare system, and it just doesn't compute to them. It just, you know, Chinese people are thinking this is like completely crazy. And to be honest, they're right. I mean, it is completely crazy. We would be far better placed accepting like 10,000 Chinese immigrants into the UK than we would 10,000 people from sub-Saharan Africa. I have absolutely no doubt of it, because the Chinese people are far more likely to contribute to society, in my opinion, and they're also better at integrating, because the Chinese that tend to come to the UK already speak English. Some other comments were that soon all European women are going to need to wear headscarves. Sounds rather ominous, and you know, for the Muslim groups in Europe that call for the implementation of Sharia law or a new caliphate in Germany or something, it's the kind of message that they would like to project, and it's really something that I hope does not come to pass. Probably the most amusing comment that I read by a Chinese netizen was one which said basically that the Muslims in the UK who have immigrated there and are living there on benefits don't really think that the British are supporting them, or that it's the British taxpayer that's paying for their way of life. Rather, they perceive it that Allah has arranged for them to be able to go to Britain, and the stupid pagan British are going to support them for the time that they're there. It's kind of like they're right. And to be honest, although this is a bit of a joke, I'm not sure how far from the truth it actually is. I really think there are a lot of migrants, including Muslim migrants, who think that they are owed. They are owed a living by the British taxpayer and other European taxpayers, and personally speaking, I think it's appalling and it has to stop. Alright, well that brings us to the end of this video. I really wanted to make it because I thought that what I saw on Twitter was just absolutely mind-blowing. Please tell me in the comments below what you think of Mohammed, his 3 wives and his 6 kids. Are they the perfect kind of new citizens for a new Britain? Is this a direction that Europe should be going in, welcoming more people like this? Or should we have a stricter migration policy or welcome different kinds of migrants? Perhaps on a points-based system, for example, like Australia has. Please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all soon in the next video.